As we all know, from the past few months, there are bills being brought into different state legislatures regarding the freedom of religion, okay? Also called as anti-conversion bills. So, in this video, we're going to discuss about the right to freedom of religion, which is enshrined in our constitution, okay? Part 3, that is the fundamental rights part in the constitution, guarantees you the freedom of religion, okay? The article 25 to 28 exclusively deals with this. What does article 25 says? It guarantees you your freedom of conscience, freedom to propagate, practice and profess the religion which you desire. So no one can stop you in practicing or propagating or professing the religion which you desire, okay? And that is not absolute. It gives provision for the state to intervene if there is any disorder to morality, health and public order, okay? So the state can intervene. This is what it says. It says the state can intervene and regulate the secular affairs, okay? So it may be financial or political. The state can intervene and manage or regulate the secular affairs. Article 26, okay? Article 26 guarantees collective freedom. That is, you have the freedom to manage religious affairs. Which means, okay, the difference between Article 25 and 26 is 25 guarantees you your individual freedom, okay? But that is not the case in 26. It guarantees collective freedom. That is, it gives you freedom or rights to manage religious affairs, okay? This is the difference between Article 25 and 26. And Article 27 is quite simple. It says no individual can be taxed, okay, when he is promoting the religion which he desires. So no one can be taxed when they are promoting the religions. Article 28, it gives freedom as to attending any religious instructions. Okay, it says any educational institutes which are run by the state or the government, it cannot give religious instructions. This is what Article 28 says. Okay. Then apart from this, you need to know about two more articles, okay? That is Article 29 and 30, which guarantees cultural and educational rights of linguistic and religious minorities, okay? India is such a diverse country with thousands of languages, scriptures and culture, be it the tribes in the Chota Nagpur region or in Andaman or anywhere. They have their own languages and scripts. They are numbered in thousands, okay? So this two articles guarantees you, okay, exclusively the Article 29, okay? It guarantees every citizens, okay, who are residing in this country the right to conserve the culture, language and the script, okay? So it guarantees every linguistic and religious minorities to conserve the culture, language and the script, okay? This is what Article 29 clause 1 says. And Article 29 clause 2 says the state should not discriminate anyone when they are admitting students into the educational institutes that are run by the state, okay? This is what Article 29 clause 2 says. So moving further, let's talk about Article 30. Article 30, okay? Article 30 here deals with it says it's similar to Article 26, okay? It says all religious and linguistic minorities have the right to establish and administer educational institutes, okay? These religious and linguistic minorities have these rights. Religious minorities in the sense Muslims, Christians, Parsis, Buddhists, okay, etc. And Article 30 clause 2, it says the state should not, when granting aid to educational institutes, discriminate against any educational institution on the grounds of religion, which means the state governments or the central governments keep on regularly providing aid, okay, providing financial aid to different minority institutions, okay. In those times, the state should not discriminate, okay, based on religion or language. This is what Article 30 clause 2 says, okay. I hope this video will be helpful to you. Thank you.